Okay, ladies and gentlemen, JJ is back with the 2011 Western Conference predictions. Now, again, I had the Rangers coming out of the East. Shocking. But still, like I said, I think a lot of people greatly underestimate the Rangers. So yeah, getting back to where I was, going to the West now. In the West, I see Los Angeles in first, Vancouver in second, Chicago in third, Anaheim fourth, San Jose fifth, Detroit sixth, Columbus in seventh, Nashville in 8th, Minnesota 9th, Colorado in 10th, St. Louis in 11th, Dallas in 12th, Edmonton 13th, Calgary 14th, and Phoenix 15th. Now, many of you may be questioning this. Los Angeles at first. Doughty's going to get re-signed. They're not letting him go anywhere. They have a good defense. Their goaltending is solid. Quick is a great goalie, backed up by Bernier, who's going to be a star goalie someday. Vancouver in second. A little bit of a Stanley Cup hangover, but a Stanley Cup final hangover, not a Stanley Cup. But I think Vancouver still finishes top of the conference. They're in a weak division. You know, I still think they grab it. If I remember right, they're in a weak division. I'm pretty sure the Northwest is Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Colorado, and Minnesota, if I remember correctly. Chicago, I like what they did this offseason. Chicago doesn't need, they just need to keep reshuffling the bottom six. Because they already have a good top six, and Kane, and Taves, and Hossa, and Sharp, and then on defense, just Seabrook, and Keith, and Halmarson, I can never pronounce his name. The kid the Sharks put an offer sheet on a couple years ago. And then with Corey Crawford in goal, probably backed up by Ray Emery. I like it. I like San Jose. Yeah, San Jose. Jesus fucking Christ. Chicago, I meant. I like Chicago. Anaheim in fourth. Apparently, Teemu Selanne is coming back for one last season, so that really helps them. Plus, they have the best top line in all of hockey, and Ryan Getzlaf and Perry. Nobody can argue that. San Jose in fifth. I think their only weakness is in goal. I'm not sold on Niemi. I'm not. If he puts up a good season this year, then maybe I'll buy into it, but as of right now, I'm not sold on Niemi. I'm not. Detroit, they lost a few pieces. Obviously, Detroit's the oldest team in the league. They're going to lose pieces every year. So, I think they take a little bit of a step back this year, but they still stay competitive. Columbus, I like. Braden Carter, James Wisniewski, but again, their weakness is in goal. There's Steve Mason, who's been shitty since his first year, and then there's nobody. So, they in trouble in goal if Mason doesn't have a Carey Price-like year. They in trouble. Okay, what was that? Nashville in 8th, Pretty simple, you can't score against them. But at the same time, they can barely score against you. So, it kind of evens out. Minnesota, big question marks on defense. Backstrom had a down year last year. He's still a good goalie. Could be an elite goalie with the right defense in front of him. But again, he doesn't have that in Minnesota. So yeah, big question marks on the defense. I think Minnesota falls just short. But again, like the East, you have at least 13 teams that are playoff capable. So it's, again, it does not fit into 8. So not everybody can make the playoffs. Okay, Colorado. I like where they're going. I do. I think while they vastly overpaid for Varlamov, 2 picks is at the top 40. Fuck you. They were right in getting him. But again, they vastly overpaid. And I don't agree with what they paid for, but I agree with getting him. If he can stay healthy, Varlamov can be a great goalie. His numbers back that up. If he can stay healthy, he can be a great goalie. But again, it's a young team. Landeskog's going to be there. You got Duchesne, Stasny. You know, you got pieces there. You know, you got Eric Johnson there on defense. You have talent there, but again, really young team, growing pains. I think they'll be in the hunt, but they're not quite there yet. St. Louis, see, that's another team. Young team, although they added veteran leadership with Langenbrunner and, oh, fuck, what was his name? He chalked this up to the alcohol. Langenbrunner. Who's the other guy who played for the Devils? Okay, I'm wasting too much time here. You know what I'm talking about. They added experience. They added Stanley Cup winning experience. So I think the young players will benefit from that. I think Halak will get better this year. He had a decent to good year last year. I had him on a couple of my fantasy teams. So I think St. Louis, the young kids, will benefit from that, but I don't see the playoffs for St. Louis this year. The West, like the East, is too competitive. You have 13, possibly 14 teams in the West that can make the playoffs, and 14 teams in the East that can make the playoffs. So it's too competitive. I don't see it. Dallas, I think Dallas needs to head to a rebuild. I really do. Adding Sheldon Surrey, Ryder, I mean, I can see why they added all these people. If I'm not mistaken, I think Vernon Fiddler went there. I could be mistaken, but I mean, they have good pieces. Louis Erickson's a great young sniper. He can definitely score. Kerry Leighton is good in goal. Then they had that kid they drafted like 2 years ago. Yeah, like 2 years ago, would be their goaltender of the future. You know, so I think Dallas has good young pieces there, but I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they need to go into a rebuild. Like I said in the Eastern Conference video, every team needs to go into a rebuild once in a while. Edmonton at 13th. Very simple. I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Nugent, whatever you want to call him. I'm just going to call him Hopkins from now on. I think Hopkins makes the team. I don't think Edmonton is going to send him back to junior. I don't. I think he's going to make the team, and I think he'll definitely have an impression. But again, Edmonton, very young team, question marks in goal and on the defense besides the 1-2 pairing. So a lot of question marks on defense, question marks in goal, a lot of good, very talented young forwards. Edmonton will be a powerhouse in a couple years, but right now I don't see it. So another learning year. I think they're out of the playoffs. Calgary, it's very simple. It's an old team. Calgary did nothing this offseason. Calgary has needed to go into a rebuild for a couple of years. They need to trade Kiprusoff. They need to trade Iginla. Their prospects, they don't have any. They're to put it in simple terms, the cupboard's bare. There's nothing there. And that rhymed. I'll be damned. So Calgary's been needed to go into a rebuild, and I think if they're out of it, like I predict they will be by the trading deadline, I think Kiprusoff and Iginla are both gone. Phoenix at 15th, it's very simple. They lost Belanger, Fiddler, oh shit, who else did they lose? Fuck, I can't remember. But getting Mike Smith for your goalie, it ain't working. That ain't gonna work. I didn't like him in Dallas. I didn't like him when he got traded to Tampa. I've never liked the kid. I just don't think he can ever be a starting goalie in the NHL. I don't see it. And his numbers, for the most part, back it up. I mean, okay, he had decent years backing up. He had a decent time backing up Rolson in Tampa. But other than that, he hasn't done anything. When he had the starting job, he couldn't hold on to it. So I don't see that they didn't have any scoring to begin with. That they didn't have a lot of it. And Brizgalov bailed him out night after night. Now that he's gone, the goaltending sucks. I feel bad for Keith Yandel and Shane Doan. You know, but that's about it. Okay, playoffs, because I only got about 3 minutes left here. First round, LA-Nashville. I got LA coming out of that. Vancouver-Columbus. That'll go 6 games, but Vancouver comes out of that. Chicago-Detroit, old foes. I think Chicago comes out of that. And I think Lidstrom retires after this year. Anaheim-San Jose. Hiller says he's healthy and ready to go. Anaheim's defense is vastly underrated. Forwards are great. I like Anaheim in that. Second round, LA-Anaheim. I gotta go with LA. Their goaltending is good. Their defense is great. Their forwards, they got elite forwards. I'm not saying Anaheim doesn't have elite forwards. I'm just saying I think LA's a better team. LA comes out of that. And then Vancouver-Chicago again. I'm going to go with Chicago. I'm going to go with Chicago. I think Luongo continues his trend of not being very good in the playoffs. And then I think after this season, he gets traded. Yes, I look for a West Final, Chicago-LA. And I think it will go to LA. I think LA will make some acquisitions at the deadline. You know, like every Stanley Cup contending team does every year, you know. They add depth and bottom 6 forwards and everything. I look for LA to come out of that. So, right now my Stanley Cup is LA and the Rangers. And then I'll be back in my third video chronicling is a bad word, sorry. Making my predictions for the trophies and for the Stanley Cup winner, which I'm not even too sure about. Oh, join me next time for that.